Hello lovely friends, I'm Gibbid. Thank you for visiting again. I have a flip through to show you today of a vintage lady journal, and I'm going to get straight into it. I've used a fabric cover. As you can see, this beautiful teal blue with these lovely tea roses, and the fabric cover goes all the way around. It's a really lovely design. I've cut the fabric so that, well, I've placed the fabric rather so that it continues with the lovely painting here, so that you've got the foliage and the fabric sweeping down, so it looks like a continuation of the picture itself. So I'm really liking how this turned out. I didn't embellish it in any other way other than just the graphic, and as you can see, it's very beautiful, that painting, and I've indented it so that this sits on a separate plate and it's all nice and flush. So you have this rounded edge here all along, so it's nice and smooth and feels good. So because I left the cover a bit plainer, I think I went a little bit overboard with the embellishments. I've done a lot of charms on this one, and the vintage lady theme, of course you've seen it before, so most of the inside of the book is things that you've seen, but there was just a couple of ideas that I thought may interest you. One being this little button. I've just put twisted wire through the button, and there's a couple more here, and I thought they look really cute. Hope you can see those. That's a button also. Let's see, there we are. And lots of other charms and dangles. A little teapot, some on the top too. Now a few months ago I acquired a bunch of bookbinding books, and I have been very slowly working my way through. So I've been incorporating a few new ideas. My last few books also I've done the same with. So the spine again is a bit different. I've done a hollow spine this time, and I think it sits very well. The pages are not glued here. So just a little bit of decorative cotton lace, and I've put some of this nice book trim that goes with the colours of the spine. So that's top and bottom, and with this lovely hinge here, and you'll see that the book opens very nicely. The pages just open by themselves, so you don't have to hold them down. So that's really nice when you are writing in a big book. She has come out a bit chunkier than I expected. Before I put all the journaling cards inside, she was quite, tidy. I think she's turned into one of these older ladies who still think she's a size 10, but she really isn't, and really she should have a bigger cover. But I do like the way she looks. I hope that this suits you, dear lady who's ordered the book, because she was very kind and had no specifications for me other than excuse me, other than it being a vintage lady and nature. So she's a bit of a mixture. I'll show you this little booklet afterwards. She's kind of refined nature. She's not trudging through the forest in your wellies nature. She's sophisticated vintage lady nature. So there's a few butterflies and birds and pretty nature thrown in. Here's our little pointy friend again from the Graphics Fairy. So this is your personal info card. And some vintage ephemera. I've done some of these little tiny embroidered tags. I hope you can see that. There. hand embroidery flowers with some little machine stitching around the edges. So there's a few of those. Done this nice collage page with machine stitching again. There's some ledger and lovely stamps, and I've tried this idea of incorporating the machined writing lines into the picture, and I think that worked quite well. Down here also is some machine stitching, and I've just left the tails of these stalks to continue down there. And normally when I've done embroidery on a page, I would cover up this side with a big pocket or a flip or something. But I actually quite like the way it came out. You've got the vines framing the corner there, and you've got the little writing lines and the stalks down here. So I thought that actually made quite a pretty writing page. So I'll probably be using that idea again. Some eco-dyed watercolour paper, and I've used this idea again of adding the silk or lace to the pockets, so that it kind of looks like the pocket is lined with fabric or lace or something, and it's just bulging out the edges. It looks very pretty. And I had this purple and green that went very well with the watercolours on this page. This young lady almost made it to the cover. I really like this picture, but I think with the colours the other one was better in the end. But what I thought would be a nice one for this, with the blossoms at the back here, to do some on a plain, like a plain linen, to do some embroidery to follow these blossoms through. So I was thinking, if anyone is in my queue at the moment and they fancied that idea, you can message me. Speaking of queues, I am really very, very grateful that so many of you want to order journals. I'll just show you this while I'm on this page. There's some little dandelion seeds in this acetate window. Yes, so I'm very grateful that so many orders are coming in. I have had to, I'm afraid, make a cut-off point because orders are stretching into December at the moment, and excuse me, I really didn't think it would be wise to take orders so far in advance time-wise, because you know, you don't know what's going to happen that far in advance. So I've left these envelopes open so that you can either write on the back or you can glue it, you know, if you wanted to use it as a little envelope. What was I saying? Yes, orders. Yes, of course, I'm very grateful. I've made a cut-off point in December, so if you are still interested in having an order, excuse me, having a journal, you're very welcome to message me later in the year, around December time, and I will be starting a new list of orders at that time. But at the moment, I'm afraid I am fully booked. So I'm very sorry, because I really don't like to say no to people, but it's just the way things have worked out. And because these books take so long to make, this is why, of course, the queue is becoming very long. I just wanted to say about this page, my intention was to, for each of these folds, to have a little bit of writing space. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there of like graph paper or ledger paper that you are supposed to be allowed to write on. I think I got a bit carried away again. So you've ended up with not very much writing space, but a pretty picture. Excuse me. I think that I'm going to have to schedule time for my own journaling because I end up writing in other people's books and it's not always good manners. So sorry about that, but you have got some writing space on the backs also. This is a set from MindBarretty on Etsy. She does this lovely Jane Austen themed set, so there's a few of her pages in here. Some ledger paper, tags and stuff. There's a little pull-out tag here with a quote. And excuse me, sorry, had to just pause while I cleared my throat. I'm on another endless line of takes again with this video, so my voice is going now. These little envelopes, I've done these on the computer, so just tea-dyed paper, and if I turn the paper slightly you can see that's the square edge of your paper. So this is on an envelope template, and I've just added these graphics, but if you add them at a diagonal like this, they're going to come out in the right place. So if you make a template on the computer, if you're obsessive like me, you can do that, and it's very easy to swap the graphic then. So I've put a few of these envelopes in, I think there's 3, all with a different picture. If you don't want to do it on the computer, of course, you can just put a little rubber stamp or just glue something. Some decoupage will look pretty. It just looks like that old-fashioned decorated stationery. So I think that's quite a pretty look. You can put what you want, of course, and just add a stamp and some postmarks. I've just done that address. So a couple of layers of pockets here. There's another fold out. There's a little ribbon pull here for a writing page, and of course on the back as well. There's forget-me-nots in a tuck, tracing paper with some stitching. There's this lovely poem by Clare. I've forgotten to write his name, but it's a very pretty poem. Some bits and pieces here. This book page I've folded and stitched here so that the stitching is kind of falls on the plain part of the page, that, you know, along the edge of the, you know what I mean, that thingy. We're down to thingies again because my brain's going now. There's a sweet little message on this graphic where somebody's written a little get well message for a sick child. Some more pockets here and here. This lovely stamp from Mackie Stamps. Oh, this is a picture of my grandmother. Well, it's a copy, it's not the photograph, because that would be weird, wouldn't it? Sending you photographs of my gran. I think this is just, oh, that's that one. To show your friends who don't understand what you're doing with your junk journal. This is a lovely French vintage textbook. For the machine lines, the stitching here, I've enclosed a vintage tea card, and I've left the back blank so that you can see this information that they had on the backs there. So there's another one. So there's just a little that is on the computer, but looks kind of like a rubber stamp, just in the black and white. So it'd be very easy to do those. With the writing sheet this time I've done this little fairy from the Graphics Fairy, because she's holding a feather and she's writing, and thought it looked cute, so I've just added it to the writing here. That's an envelope. That's an envelope too, with this lovely vintage paper. Some quotes. On this side is a poem page, another quote. There's a forget-me-not inside this wax disc, and I've done a little cluster of beads on that paper clip. Here's a magnet pocket, and here is another specimen. in tracing paper, so kind of get a double-sided effect there. And it's always nice to put the tracing paper in front of a picture so that you've got nice colours both sides. These are from TheOldDesignShop. There's another pocket and some vintage music paper with a nice big journaling card in there. I've added this peacock feather because the colours are so pretty, and if they stick out the top, you know, they kind of go with the cover fabric too. For this little section I've done some black album pages, so it looks like a photo album, and I've put this Japanese rice paper in between, in the way that they used to add the glassine to protect the photographs. So we've got little madam here, dressed practically for tending sheep. Some more photos. These two are pockets, and some I've added with the vintage corners, so that you can get behind and write on the page this lovely linen textured paper. And then there's space on the back. On the edge of these I've put some gold gilding just to make them stand out on the black. It looks very pretty like that. So let me get that back in. This other little photo on the other side I thought was really pretty, and it was a bit more casual, so I've just kind of clipped that one in at the top there. So some more photos, wearing all the beads. I've just done some white gel pen down the sides of some of these. This chap, I don't know, I have no words for him. You can make your own mind up. And of course the backs of these can be used as a tuck spot as well if you wanted. This young woman is riding the buses all day, I think, or the trains, in her little outfit. Off for a day out. Some music manuscripts made into a pocket, and a pocket this side. And I really like this shot of these three girls out together. It's a lovely natural kind of looking shot. So that's just clipped in at the top, and then another little thingamy-bob embroidery, and I've made these tags into a little booklet with some pages in there. Oh, I forgot our little peacock feather. Okay, and was that the end? No, not quite. Yes, so the end page I've used this lovely grungy memorandum paper from Mr. Tim, and I've got a wax seal here. I always think that if people could see us who lived 100 years ago, they'd be laughing at us. I hope you know that, guys. They would be laughing at us for using this paper. But we just can't help ourselves. It's too pretty. So that's your book, my dear. And this little one was supposed to go inside, but she's ended up a bit bulky because our friend here was so bulky. So the idea behind this was a little calling card booklet, a little wallet rather. So I've used these images from Kristie art again, and I've put elastic here to close, and I've made a nice sturdy cover with gel medium over it. So this would be protected inside lady's handbag. You've got a little note pages here. On the edge of the pages I've done tiniest bit of gold. I don't know if that's going to show, but very, very faint, just so that it looks very worn and like it's been knocking about in the lady's purse for a long time. This is an elastic, like a garter elastic if you wanted to make this. These are quite pretty to use. and you can just make a little pen loop. I've put an antique pencil here, and in the little pocket I've made some calling cards. So you would have your name on here and just put the, you would write the time that you were calling for tea so that you could be expected. So put those in there. I've made those myself with background graphics from the Graphics Fairy. I think they all were from her. But actually she does do some ready-made cards as well, you know, if you just wanted to print out some of your own. And that's quite a nice idea. Also amongst the pages is a little sweetheart photo of a handsome young man. It actually took me ages to find a handsome young man. So he fit the bill. They all had horrible moustaches or sideburns or weird hair, you know, how they looked in those days. So I was going to put him in a little pocket in the back, but then I thought it was quite a sweet little thing if she's just tucked him secretly in there for a secret love. So that's locked away like that. And before I finish, I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, you might have seen my little desk buddy friend. She's called Barbara, and I named her Barbara because of my friend Barbara, who we've been friends for years, and even before her daughter Maya was born. And it was only after I named her that I realised, you know, Barbara, sheep. I'm so funny, right? So her daughter Maya, as I was saying, she's only very young, and she's made this little sheep who is just gorgeous. She's got the sweetest little expression, a very contented little expression on her face. And she's so pretty. She's made, used this wonderful curly Wensleydale locks, and she's needle felted it with her own tiny hands. Her mother's given permission, but I'm not going to say here how old she is, but she is pre-teen, so she's very young, and she's done a beautiful job of this little sheep. So I wanted to say that Maya has started her own little shop on Instagram, so if any of you would like to see more of her beautiful work, that's where to find her. She's called Maya's Makes, and I will put a link with the correct spelling, I hope, down below. And she is selling little crafted animals, felted animals, and also some jewellery. And she's very lovely, so she will sit on my desk here and keep an eye on things. And the other thing, a couple of people have asked me for tutorials, and I'm really sorry, I'm just unable to find the time at the moment. I will show you this quick little thing, because this is what I've been asked for, how to do my fold outs, and I think that this was what was being referred to. So if not, then sorry, you'll have to ask me again, sorry. So I think that the confusion is coming because there's an odd number of pages in the signature. And so I've got, excuse me, one folio here and one folio here. So of course these fit together into a signature. And, excuse me, what I've been doing is putting a tracing paper specimen in here. So that would be glued like that. And I think that that's what the confusion is. That is one page. That's the spine of your book there. And then the other side is two separate pages, so maybe that's confusing people, I don't know. So you could either stitch around here to enclose your specimen in the window, or just glue it. And as I said, so that's your spine. And then this side, if you can leave it, if you have a bigger piece of paper than usual, that's helpful, because when it's folded, of course. And then you can fold there to make a little booklet and add as many pages as you want here, and cut that to fit if you want. And then on the other side, of course, you could either glue that into a pocket, you could remove the pages, you could put a pocket here, and you can fold this either way, pockets, flaps, you know, whatever. And then for the pages, you could put a second book there if you wanted, and this is where you would stitch down the spine here. And the idea behind this, adding the spine, as you can see, I'm really rubbish at tutorials, so that's probably a good thing that I haven't got time to do them properly. Adding the spine on this side is eliminating a lot of the bulk from the middle of your book, which is always a good thing for ladies like us who like to add things to their books. So all the bulk is being pushed to the edge of the book rather than the middle. So that's that. All that remains is for me to thank you for getting through such a long video again. Well done, guys. Yay. Thank you for coming, and I will see you again soon. Oh yes, one more thing. Tag sets. I've got a video coming out about tag sets, and they're still not quite ready. I've got to wait for resin to dry. So I'm putting some tag sets on my Etsy shop, and I forgot to say on that video that there's two different sets, so just to avoid confusion, there's a woodland tag set which is a bit cheaper, and there's also the botanical tag set where every tag in the set has had a real flower or plant used to make it either printed or as a specimen. So you'll see two different sets, two different prices. So thank you guys, and have a great week. Bye everyone.